Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our viewers on KDKA Plus and listeners on 93.7 The Fan as we greet you tonight here from the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You know the drill. Call us, air your opinions. We'd love to talk to you on the events of the day, the week, the month. 412-575-2600. Chris Mueller is alongside up in 93.7 The Fan on a day after the schedule release and a lot of debate about that schedule. Chris, I was a little surprised there was only 4 primetime games. I expected more. But I guess the uncertainty of Aaron Rodgers makes it difficult to assume anything there. That first game seemed to be very much a nighttime game, a primetime game right off the bat. It's not. Instead, it's 1 o'clock, which we'll take here on KDKA. But there could be some, flexed into primetime. But overall, your thoughts about just 4 primetime games for a team that normally gets more?
Well, I think what's noteworthy, in light of Mike North, who is like the schedule czar here for the NFL, he went on with Kay Adams today and essentially implied that if the NFL and he, by extension, had a real idea of whether or not Aaron Rodgers was actually going to join the Steelers, then that Week 1 game probably would have been prime time because it's Aaron Rodgers going back to the team he just left on pretty poor terms. So I think the real upshot here is that despite the Steelers suggesting and telegraphing that they feel really good about their pursuit of Rodgers, and maybe they'll be proven correct, everybody close to the situation knows very little more than you or I do, Bob. So I think that this suggests that there is some uncertainty and some hedging of the bets by the NFL and by the schedule maker because they cannot say for absolute certain that Aaron Rodgers is going to be this team's starting quarterback. And even though there are plenty of people in this town who would rather just see Mason Rudolph get his shot for 17 games anyway, he does not have nearly the mass appeal, I don't think I need to spell that out for people, that Aaron Rodgers does to a broader audience.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. It's just because he's a 4-time Hall of Famer, first ballot, or 4-time MVP, I should say, first ballot Hall of Famer. So therefore, there's a lot of intrigue, especially the way he's conducting his off-the-field stuff. So I think people would have been into that one way or the other, even though I'm not so sure what it means for the Steelers if he does show up. I still believe he can be effective, but there's so many things that have to happen for it to be effective, and that starts with the offensive line. So there are a lot of moving parts in this one. Let me ask you about the last 8 games, because similar to last year, but not exact, they don't have 3 and 12 games with all 3 outstanding teams waiting for them in a very compact period of time. But they do have 8 tough games to end this season. What are your thoughts on that? And what do the Steelers have to do to try to avoid, not ending up with a losing record?
I mean, they've got a crucible. Let's just be honest. They have Buffalo and Detroit and Baltimore in a 4-game span. They have both Baltimore games backloaded into the schedule. There's not really a lot of easy outs. Miami, because it's probably going to be colder out and Miami tends not to travel well, feels like one of the few times that they could catch a breather, and that's still a team that if you're not on your P's and Q's, it can put 35 on you. So I think this is a bad schedule for them, at least logistically. The bye week being in week 5 means that they're going to be tired. Some of their key players are older guys. I know Cam Hayward, you're not supposed to sell him short on anything, but I mean, facts are facts. This team faded down the stretch last year. Yes, they had extremely difficult competition, but they wilted, I think, under fatigue, under pressure, and at the very least on paper, Bob, I think this schedule sets them up to do the very same thing. So done no favors by the schedule maker, I would argue.
No, not at all. All right, the Pirates have the night off. They're going to go to Philadelphia. It's a shame they only won one of those 3 because they had pitching performances, Chris. They could have won all 3 games, and therein lies the problem with their entire season. That's kind of a nutshell look at it, but the Mets were really good at home all season long, and the Pirates could have won 3. They took 1 instead, and the hitting issues continue, even though they got 2 home runs last night.
Couldas, wouldas, shouldas, almost, only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. I mean, it is the story of their season. I just found it tough. I know Joe Block obviously is doing the game and he's trying to be positive, but man, hearing him say something like they really broke out the lumber tonight for a game they ended up scoring 4 runs in. I know they won the game and maintained that streak of now 20 straight games with 4 or fewer runs. It's just kind of a grim sort of reminder of how bad the offense has been, and it just serves to underscore the incredible, almost jaw-dropping failing of Ben Cherington to actually develop hitters through his system, to draft them, to find the right guys, and to develop them. I think you can say without exaggeration, the most promising position player and bat in their system right now is the guy they just drafted in the first round, Connor Griffin, because I do not have high hopes for Termarr Johnson, regardless of what some people may think about him. I think in the major leagues, if he's like an average offensive player, they're going to end up being pretty happy with that.
We'll take a break on that note. When we come back, we're going to talk about another team eliminated from the NHL playoffs, and it's one that not many people thought would be in round 2, but they were tonight. That's coming up. 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, this is our Xfinity mobile tweet of the night. It comes from the Pittsburgh Riveters, who will be making their debut tomorrow night, and that's at Highmark Stadium. It's already been a sellout. It is a good group of young ladies who are a combination of some elite high school talent as well as college talent, and they have, national champions on that team. It's going to be interesting to see. So professional women's soccer for the first time in Pittsburgh, and they start tomorrow against Cleveland. What better way to do that, Chris, if you're going to be a Pittsburgh team, to start against Cleveland? So that's what they'll do.
Let's try to channel Chris Palmer's 1999 Cleveland Browns for the performance of their opponent, 43-0 to a bad Steelers team. Let's try to channel that, but good luck to the Riveters. Another sport that I just am always in awe of when I see played at any kind of high level, Bob, because I don't know about you, I have zero coordination or ability to play soccer at anything other than a kickball forward level. Yeah, not to mention the cardiovascular needs that you have to run up and down. I mean, it's amazing how much stamina they do have, and they'll be on display tomorrow. I'm going to be there. I'm anxious to watch it, so I know a lot of people have a lot of fun with that one. PGA leaderboard, I want to get to this because Johnny Vegas came out of nowhere, shot 7 under par today. There are 2 golfers, Davis and Gerard at -5, and a whole bunch of them -4. Any surprises for you other than the fact that Johnny Vegas is leading? I mean, I'm surprised that it's not a great leaderboard as far as big names really close to the top. Guys like Luke Donald at 4 under. Luke Donald, I know, is a former #1 in the world, Bob, but this is supposed to be a bomber's paradise, this course, because it's just long. The rough being so deep really prevents some hazards from coming into play. It's supposed to be just if you can hit it long and straight, you're going to have a massive advantage. And really the leaderboard does not reflect that. So I think I don't love it for a major. I don't know about you. I kind of want to see, it's fun to watch a guy come out of nowhere and maybe contend when you don't think he will and maybe even sometimes win. But when it's a relative entire list of no names, that kind of takes away from it. I also want to get your take, Bob. I'm curious. They did not go lift clean in place and play preferred lies, and you had mud balls affecting players left and right. Big name guys, too. Should the Tour, or should the PGA, yes, I should say, technically, should they have made it lift clean in place today? Yes. I think that's fair for everyone, and you never know what you're going to get. It's very difficult to hit a ball with a bunch of mud on it. Well, the argument could be that mud balls are fair for everyone, too, because everyone's getting them, and I think the uproar here is that the best players seem to be just more affected by them at the wrong times. But, I mean, to me, you're making an entertainment product out of this. Like, it is a major. It is supposed to be the truest test. But if you go lift clean in place, you probably cater to the better players, but you also have a more, I guess, a less random apples-to-apples sampling. Yeah. Well, there are some names like Scheffler's 2 under. It's only one round. We'll see what happens after tomorrow, and then Saturday will tell the tale. Let's go to the lines here, Chris, at 412-575-2600, beginning with Greg in Washington is our first caller tonight. Hello, Greg.
Yeah, Bob, I just wanted to, I'm 55. I've been following Pittsburgh sports for, since I've been a kid. I just can't remember, the state of the whole, baseball, football, hockey, where, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come to Pittsburgh, the Steelers are going to look like a joke. The Pirates already are a joke. The Penguins, do you think they could you think a good coach would even want to come here at this point? Like, yeah, I do. He's going to be going. Malcolm's going to be going. It just...
Listen, I can take you back, Greg, to the 1980s. I remember some of those years. That was at the end of Chuck Noll's term before Bill Cowher took over in the 1990s. Things were not going well. The Penguins were still trying to figure out what they had there, and they were trying to win a lottery, and they eventually did, and took some time to win a championship. And the Pirates were in the same boat there. So, it comes in cycles, I guess, Chris. May I suggest to Greg that he begin following the Pittsburgh Riveters SC and maybe take on a new team, adopt a new team in town that might not stink, as a matter of fact. Or the Riverhounds. The Riverhounds are the only USL team left in this U.S. Open Cup. Everybody else is MLS. Listen, I love that stuff in soccer. I
I kind of wish we could have that in the 4 major sports, some kind of weird stakes where you could get like the AAA affiliate of the Dodgers is playing the Pirates or vice versa. Some people would argue that the AAA Dodgers team probably has more talent, and frankly, they probably do. Who am I kidding? But I love some of that stuff in soccer. I love relegation. I love where if your team isn't really putting their best foot forward, then, okay, see you later. You're going to anonymity for a while, and we're going to find somebody else who actually wants to try to win. Am I sending a message to any particular team in general with this kind of statement? Maybe I am.
We have a couple of Marks on the line. We're going to go to O'Hara Township first. We got Mark out there. What's up, Mark?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I want to know what the thing is about Aaron Rodgers. He didn't play for a year. And then when he comes back, he plays, and he loses 12 games, wins 5.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. And now he's 2 years older than the last time he was at all good. So,
they backed themselves into a corner, quite frankly. And even though their record was 5-12, his stats were a little bit better than what that record said. They had a bad team there. He was a big part of it. And yeah, that's why when this whole thing surfaced, it's like, well, really? We're going to go through this Aaron Rodgers situation and then allow it to be on his terms when you have no idea one way or the other? I mean, I think they're confident, Chris, but the longer this goes, I'm losing confidence in this scenario. I don't know that it's going to happen. If it does happen, it should happen now. What's holding them back?
Well, forgive me, the caller was just electrifying there at the start, so I kind of got thrown off kilter there. But his actual point is not, poorly taken. I mean, we kind of made these excuses for Russell Wilson. Oh, those numbers still are pretty good. But then people tried to tell everybody last year, well, the numbers don't really tell the whole story with Wilson. I don't think they tell the whole story with Rodgers last year. The bottom line here is Mike Tomlin's collecting baseball cards when it comes to old, fading, future, in Russell Wilson's case, very likely, in Rodgers' case, stone-cold lock Hall of Famers. I put this on the head coach. You said they backed themselves into a corner. I think the head coach allowed that to happen. I think they could have at least rolled the dice with Justin Fields this year. It's clear the head coach was not enamored with him, and I don't think it would have yielded like any great results, but I don't think Rodgers is any better. He's just a big name. Like, I'd be shocked if he comes here and they go anything better than 10-7, which it feels like they could roll out of bed and do most years.
Yeah. There's always an upside with Fields, only because he's so young yet, and there's, you could hold out hope that maybe in a year or two he would develop into something better than he's shown. But yeah, with Rodgers, you're knocking on the door at 42, and he seems to be thinking about retirement. And Chuck Noll always said, if you're thinking about it, that means you're probably already there. Back to the lines. We got Mark in Pittsburgh. Go ahead, Mark. How are you?
Hi. I saw a chart on Facebook that showed the wealth of all the NFL owners, and it appears that the Rooneys are in last place as far as the wealth of all the owners.
As far as what?
If you saw it on Facebook, Mark, it's stone cold true, but it is probably closer to a real grain of truth or kernel of truth in this case, because the Rooney family, like the Brown family that owns the Bengals, that's their business. I mean, the wealth is tied up exclusively in the value of the team. There are plenty of owners like David Tepper who made their money elsewhere. Jerry Jones's wealth is not completely tied to the Cowboys. He had money beforehand. That's how he bought them, but he's built them into a behemoth when it comes to just making money, not winning playoff games or appearing in NFC title games, mind you. But yeah, the Rooneys are one of the poorest ownership groups because this is their business. And most of these other guys are independently wealthy from something other than football, and they buy the team as more of a fun thing to kind of mess with.
Just look at the lineage of the Washington football team, the Commanders, and all the guys who've been there. They had a lot of wealth. They bought and they're trying to. I think what happens is these guys want to become more known. They love the fame that comes with this because they can't get it in their other businesses, no matter how wealthy they are.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, the Broncos, I think, are owned by one of the Walton heirs right now. I mean, the Rams, extremely. I mean, these are super rich owners. I don't really know what the connection is, though. I mean, the Steelers, I do think, like, if you want to say that they could spend more money on coaches or, support personnel, fine, I'll listen to that. But the Bengals are, again, a team owned by a family that doesn't have a lot of net worth outside of the team itself. They have Joe Burrow. That's going to make them a contender just about every year because he exists. So I would not lose sight of the overall goal, which is if you got a great quarterback it doesn't really matter who owns your team.
And that'll continue to be the chase for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go to Leo in Bridgeville before we go to break. Hey, Leo, how are you? Hello, Leo. All right, Leo. On that note, Leo must have gone to sleep or went to get a refreshment. Whatever the case, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. And Leo, if you get that refreshment, come on back and give us a call at 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.